Hey there. Welcome back to another video where John hurts your feelings. Um, it's not intentional, really, but one of the things that I hear authors whining about the most, and as a publisher and editor, I hear authors whining a lot, is about social media and how you're an introvert and how you hate posting on social media, and how you don't ever know what to say when you're promoting your books, and you don't want to be a pest, and you don't feel comfortable asking people to buy your stuff. And I don't care. Please, God, quit whining. But here are some ugly truths about social media. And if you don't know who I am, well, hi, I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, and I am an author. I am a professional writer. I have 41 books in print at the time of this recording. The 42nd is coming out in about 3 weeks. And I have supported my family off my writing for the past 10 years. So I do know a little bit about writing and about the publishing business. So, social media is both the best and worst place to build an author platform. The fact is that yes, you do need to be active, and you need to be engaging, and you do need to be sincere. If all you are ever doing is posting a picture of your book cover, hi, this is my book, please buy it, nobody is going to do that because you are not contributing to any discussion anywhere, and frankly, you're not saying anything interesting. But I have a 5-step program that you can use on social media to increase your platform as an author. This is not guaranteed to do anything other than increase engagement and be an easy thing that you can do to post on social media about your book. I do not guarantee that you will sell a single book. For all I know, you're already selling 5 million books, or you haven't even finished writing a book. But here are 5 things that you can do, and you only have to do one per day for each day of the business week. One thing per day to grow your engagement on social media. And yes, you have to do something every day because there are people looking at your profile every day. And yes, you have to talk about the fact that you're a writer every day because not everyone on your social media feed sees everything that you post. In a lot of places, barely 10% of the people that are following you or connected to you see everything you do. So you have to do the same thing a lot. But you do not have to post, hi, I'm John Hartness. I wrote the Quincy Harker Demon Hunter series, and you should go out and buy my omnibus. Although you should. If you want. I mean, I want you to, but I'm not going to hold your feet to the fire. So here are 5 things. You make one post per day, every day. I don't care if it's at the same time. You know, I'm not gonna tattle on you. Nobody's gonna email me and tell me. And if they do, I'm not gonna care. It's your life. But you post every day. On Monday, post about a book that you like, not one that you wrote. One that you like. Post about something you're excited to read. For example, if you picked up a copy of Sammy Trinidad's book Nemesis, her fun rom-com debut novel, post about that. And post about the fact that you're excited that your friend has their book published and that you have a copy and you're really looking forward to getting into this book and reading it. And that it's got a fun cover. And you're thrilled that they've accomplished a lifelong dream and now you have it. Look, you talked about a book. It wasn't yours. Why do you want to do that? Well, one, It proves to the world that you have friends. And that's going to make somebody who picked on you in junior high school feel bad about themselves because they said you weren't ever going to have a friend, right? Or maybe that's just me. I could be transferring. Anyway, the more you talk about stuff you like, the better you look and the more engaged people will be with you. So talk about stuff you like. I just did a whole video on K-pop Demon Hunters, which I watched this afternoon and flippin' loved. If you haven't watched it, go watch it after you're done watching this and after you like and subscribe and ring the bell to get notified so that you can be apprised of all our videos. But then go watch K-pop Demon Hunters, and this one lock of hair is going to drive me up a flippin' tree. I swear I'm putting a hat on for the next thing I have to do. Anyway, number 2, on Tuesday, post about an upcoming appearance. It doesn't have to be yours. Maybe you don't ever leave the house. I go to a fair number of conventions, so it's pretty easy for me to post about an upcoming appearance. Or if I just came from something, I can post about an immediately prior appearance. What this does is it shows the world that you're out there, that your fans can come meet you. In the month of August, you're going to see a lot of posts from me about Dragon Con because Dragon Con is at the end of August and I will be there. If you're there, come see me, come say hi. You can find me in the app. But maybe you don't ever go anywhere, but you think it's awesome that Chuck Tingle is on a national book tour and you want to go see Chuck Tingle in Raleigh. He's going to be in Raleigh or Chapel Hill, someplace close. I live in Charlotte, so it's relatively close. I can't go because he's there the day before I have to go to Dragon Con, and I'm not driving 3 hours in the opposite direction the day before I have to drive 4.5 hours south to go to Atlanta. I am an old, and driving a whole bunch in 24 to 36 hours will be bad for me and my poor old back. But I will probably post something about, hey, if you're going to see Chuck Tingle, take him a copy of one of my books. I'll love you forever. You know, I posted a year or so ago on that my friend Rachel Brune was at AuthorCon, and I said, hey, if you get a chance, get me a signed copy of a Grady Hendrix book. I've never met him before. Then I met him, and he's awesome. But I already had a signed copy of his book because Rachel hooked me up. You can post about stuff your friends are doing. And again, it goes back to proving to that bully from middle school that you have friends. But also, you're talking about something someone else is doing, and that's always good for you. Number 3, on Wednesday, post a buy link to one of your books. Why do you do this on Wednesday? Because very few people have Wednesday off. If you have a long weekend, it's either adding Monday or maybe you're blowing off early and maybe you're taking off on Friday. Most of the time, people are at work on Wednesday. And where do people screw off on social media the most? While they're at work. So you post a buy link on Wednesday to make sure that you're catching the most people at their desk. If you send out an email newsletter, there are specific times that are best to send that out. I personally schedule all our email newsletters to drop at 10 to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time during a workday. Why? Stay with me because this is a little gross, but it's accurate. Because people get to work at 9, and they've either had coffee on the way in or they have a cup of coffee as soon as they get there, and then they answer emails for a while. And then all of a sudden, the coffee is starting to process, and then there's breakfast processing. And about 10 o'clock, they have to go spend some time in the corporate library on their phone, which is a great time for them to read your newsletter. Yes, I time my newsletter delivery for when people are pooping. That's advanced marketing, y'all. Strange but true. But you post your buy link on a Wednesday because most people are in the office on Wednesday. And you can, if you have multiple books out, that makes it easier. You know, last week I posted a Bubba box set link. Maybe this week I'll post a Unforgiven link. I have a pile of books, so it's easy for me to not post the same book. But you know what? If only 10% of the people on your social media feed see you posting that buy link, it'll take 2.5 months for all of them to see the link to your book if you only have one book. So it ain't going to hurt anything, and it's not going to piss anybody off if you post a buy link once a week. On Thursday, step 4, post an inspiration. I'm not talking like a Jack Handy deep thoughts or it's hard to fly with like the eagles when you're surrounded by turkeys. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something that inspired a scene from one of your books, something that inspired a character for one of your books, maybe a location that made you want to write a story that got into an anthology. Gail Martin does some of the best of this of anyone that I've seen because she's all the time posting things to her social media about bits of Charleston that inspired things in her Deadly Curiosities series. That's fantastic. It gives people a grounding in the series and it makes them interested in buying the book without saying, hey, you should go buy this book because it's got this thing in Charleston. No, it's just like, hey, here's this awesome church in Charleston and I wrote this scene in it. It's hard for me to do that with some of my books because I don't have photographs of the strip clubs that Bubba has gotten into fights in. Also, I made most of them up. But yeah, on Thursday, post something that inspired something in something you've written. And then on Friday, your 5th thing of the week, post something you're reading or something you've read that you loved. Preferably something you're reading now because writers read. If you are a writer or you are an aspiring writer, you must read. You must read a lot and you must read in the genre in which you are writing and you must read what is currently being published in the genre that you are writing. I do not want to hear you whine about I don't want to muddy up my inspiration. There are 2 stories, kids. Somebody comes to town or somebody goes on a trip. That's it. And you know where I got that? I lifted it straight from Mark Twain. That's it. Them's the stories. Somebody comes to town, somebody goes on a trip. You ain't that damn original. I'm sorry. You're not. It's been written before. So read the stuff that is being published in your genre today. Do not try to write epic fantasy in 2025 and tell me that the only things you've ever written are the complete works of Tolkien and the entirety of the Wheel of Time series, because that's not all that's being done in epic fantasy today, and frankly, most of it would not be published if those things were launching today because the market has changed. The environment for writing and reading has changed. So you, as a writer, must read. You must read voraciously and you must read multiple genres, including the ones you don't write in. I read a fair bit of YA and romantasy. I write neither of these things, but I enjoy them quite a bit. I read a ton of police procedurals, and frankly, most of my urban fantasy are at their root police procedurals. You must read. And then every Friday, you must tell someone about it. This Friday, I'll probably talk about Never Flinch, the new Stephen King book that I'm listening to on audio, and man, the narrator for that is phenomenal. If you've got an audiobook credit, you should check out Never Flinch. Not that Stephen King needs my help promoting his stuff, but I'm really enjoying this. It's a Holly Gibney book, who she started off in Mr. Mercedes, but you do not have to have read any of those books to enjoy this one. And I'm telling you, if you get a chance to check out the audio, do it because this narrator is phenomenal. And that's exactly what I'm talking about when I say post about something you're reading. I didn't pitch my book. At no point in that little talk about Never Flinch did I say a word about anything I've written. But what I'm doing when I talk about things I like, when I talk about places I'm going or places my friends are going, when I talk about things that are inspiring me, I am putting myself forth as an authority on books, on writing, on just cool stuff, and it intrigues people, and they are more likely to buy my stuff when I post that link on Wednesday. So if you make one social media post every single day and you follow this formula, you will see an increase in your social media engagement. And most of the time, an increase in engagement leads to an increase in sales, and increases in sales lead to an increase in money. An increase in money for my kitties over here leads to an increase in treats, and they're very motivated by treats, so they're very motivated to make me do my social media post. Now you do your social media posts after you ring the bell, click the like button, subscribe, do the things, leave a note in the comments to tell me something that meets one of those five. Tell me a book you like and a book you're reading. All right? Till next time, bye.